Alright, what's up everybody? This video I'm going to try my best to break down the new godly, true dragon god, Rimuru. This is the most complicated unit in ALS history, so I'm going to apologize if my explanations are bad or rushed. I don't know, I'm going to try my best here to dumb it down and talk. But he's got a lot going on, and there's a lot of stuff to process that kind of clicks as you use him. Like, it all comes together later. So, if you at first don't understand, maybe give it like a couple minutes of watching, and maybe it'll all kind of come together towards the end. But pretty much, okay. This guy has 5 different abilities on placement. He has Form Select, Skill Crafting, Reality Warping, Soul Gluttony, and Gluttony. Now, I'm going to go from top to bottom here. So, Form Select, right? He's got 2 different forms. Now, one of which is an auto mode. This is going to pretty much do everything for you. So that's going to involve absorbing random elements, pretty much absorbing all the elements he can, and combining those elements into different skills, and then he cannot use his active again, he can't change his form anymore. So you're kind of stuck using the auto form. And the reason you don't want to do that if you're manually playing, and why it's much better to do True Dragon if you're actually paying attention, but True Dragon pretty much is going to let him unlock higher potential, unlock stronger and stronger passives. Seal Form is going to automatically unlock a bunch of passives and automatically do it in the background, but you can only get the first tier of his passives, okay? We're going to go for the True Dragon form here because we're going to be manually checking this guy out, and we're going to unlock the True Dragon ability, which has like a bar, and we'll get into that in a bit here. Now that we've changed his form, we can get into the skill crafting mode. We're going top to bottom again. Now, skill crafting. These are the passives he can unlock, different magic, different skills. There are 3 different tiers. Okay, so as I mentioned, the auto mode. So the skill crafting of the auto mode is only going to go up to advanced, right? But normally, if we go back to the True Dragon here, you can see at the very bottom of this ability, unlock ultimate and unique skills. So you can unlock ultimate tiers with these skills here. And those are pretty much stronger versions of the passives, because these passives right here are the weakest ones you can get. So the skill crafting here, we have requirements for each magic, but we have a fire, water, nature, light, dark, and perfect seal. The perfect seal one is the least important one, just gives him extra damage per unit slot sacrifice, but this is his most important one for manually unlocking his other passives later. But the dark mode has like a summoning passive, the light mode, higher cap of solar flame, nature, extra damage per effect on enemy, water is like a crit buff and damage to frozen enemies, and fire is extra damage to enemies with 3+ burn. Bunch of different stuff here, nothing too crazy yet, because it's all advanced mode. But as you see the requirements on them, we have an X on the manipulation and a check mark on the magic. So these are all going to require 1 manipulation and 1 magic for each element. Manipulation is from eating a certain unit element. Magic is from eating a certain enemy element. Now when it comes to eating, okay, Rimuru can consume. Manipulation, again, is going to be from a unit. He's going to have to eat a unit that you have. And then magic is going to be from eating an enemy. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to show you what it feels like to use this guy, right? I have my Lulu down. So if I were to eat this guy with Gluttony, because this can consume enemies and allies, I'm going to go ahead and choose this and click Ally. And click on my Lulu. And he is now going to learn the manipulation of Dark. So again, the manipulation is from eating a unit. The magic is from eating an enemy. And the way I have 4 of each element right here, if you already noticed that, you can get magic from his Godly lead. I'm not sure if you figured that out yet. Maybe you already saw that in the lobby or something. But pretty much his Godly lead is just going to make it easier to use him. That way you don't have to eat certain enemies for the element. If you don't bring his Godly lead, you're going to have to eat certain enemies with the element to actually unlock the magic. You're going to start out with 0. If I were to show you what it looks like to eat a certain enemy though, I'm going to put him on none. We need the enemies to be walking. And now we're going to dabble with his Reality Warping ability. Now what this is going to function as is kind of like a workaround if you don't have a certain element, because I'm sure it might have crossed your mind by now if you've been keeping up with what I'm saying. I know it's a lot, very complicated, but what if you don't have a certain element of an enemy here, right? Like this is a water stage, I only have water enemies to work with. What we can do, Reality Warping, I can turn them into, for example, fire, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to Rimuru, and I can eat this stuff in range, and I will gain a bunch of fire and water magic because I had enemies that were fire and water in my range. The Reality Warping can be used on both enemies and allies, so if you don't have a certain element of a unit to get the manipulation part, because you have to, again, eat both enemies and units for the manipulation and the magic, but let's say you don't have a unit of a certain element, you can use Reality Warping on them, and the way that's going to work is when you use Gluttony on the unit, like I did with my Lulu earlier, you will gain the element of that unit, and on top of that, the manipulation of the element you chose to put on them. So let me just go ahead and show you what that looks like as well. I'm going to go ahead and use Reality Warping on my Johnny, and I'm going to go ahead and give him an element that I don't have on my team, so I don't have anyone that is light, for example. I'm going to go ahead and apply light to my Johnny, and that should have worked right there, as long as you click around them somewhere. And then I can go ahead and Gluttony my Johnny, eat him, It will give me both water and light. You get the element that you gave him on top of what he already has. Now that we have the manipulation for water and light, you can see that we have the requirements for the skill here. Again, I started out with the magic of these elements already because of the godly lead. Now, one thing that I might as well mention, reality warping doesn't really work on a perfect seal ally. If you like reality warp him to have a different element, let me just go and show you. So my Death Sun right here, he has perfect seal, right? If I reality warp him, again, this is going to pretty much make it so I can eat this element even if I don't have it on my team. So I'll go ahead and give him like nature. I don't have a nature unit on my team. But when I try and eat him, if I eat my Death Sun here, I only get perfect seal. So watch out for that if you're building your team. Perfect seal stuff cannot be reality warped, pretty much. I don't know if that's a bug right now, but yeah. But back on track, I'm sure you kind of maybe get the hang of it now. You can change the elements of enemies and units, you can eat them, and unlock the manipulation and magic required to get a certain skill. Once we craft a skill here, you can see he unlocks a skill on Dean, which of course it showed us in the menu here of what that actually is, you know. This one, for example, going to be the summoning here. If I get that, you can see these summonings will start appearing. Summons right here. Rimuru summons, there's his model kind of sliding on the floor. But I'm going to go ahead and just craft up every single skill that I can. We can go ahead and get into the next section of this guy. So that was all the advanced magic stuff. Kind of talked about how to eat certain elements, how to force elements that you don't have on your team or in the stage that you're running. And that is pretty much how to unlock the advanced magic. This is all as far as you can go. If you had them on auto mode, automatically just eating random elements, it would go ahead and merge you up to the advanced magic we can see here. But what we're going to get into now is going to be further than that, requiring you to go into the True Dragon form and unlock the ultimate and unique skills at the bottom of the ability there. Went ahead and got every single advanced skill that we can get on Rimuru right now. Okay, True Dragon here. This is how we're going to unlock the ultimate and unique skills, as you can see at the bottom. And there's a one-time thing, just kind of going into a different form, pretty much going into a different mode. As the cost for reaching True Dragon form is going to pretty much just be spending 1 million cash. So it's kind of like locking you out of getting this very early game. This is very overpowered. If we get down my Death Sun, for example, total cost of 1.5 mil here. I'll just go ahead and eat him with Rimuru. And the True Dragon ability, or the Gluttony ability, I think, once you're in True Dragon form, will actually add to the total cost. But either way, once we eat him, fills up the bar here. And that's going to unlock the ultimate skills, which are going to kind of segue into the unique skills as well. Now, pretty much, once you have all of the advanced skills, you can kind of just merge them into the ultimate one. So you can see these are stronger versions of the previous ones if you kind of took note of what those were. So you combine the fire one and the dark one. So Ifrit was the fire, Nyx was the first dark one. You can combine the two into Lucifer, which is a stronger summon, and also detonate dot. So it kind of plays into burn there, but also plays into the summoning from the dark one. We're going to grab that real quick. By the way, once you craft an ultimate one, you can kind of like recraft the advanced ones. I'm not sure if this actually gives you the advanced passes as well. It probably does. It seems like you kind of have to re-unlock the advanced ones you had before, but no problem. I can do that already. For the Tarot one, there's going to be a combination of the first water and the first nature. He's going to start healing the base every 45 seconds. He's going to do more damage per effect on an enemy. And if the base has more than 7 stocks, he does even more damage. And you can see him healing the base right now 5 out of 10 from grabbing the ultimate nature one. Amaterasu plus Nyx. Okay, this one is going to be the first light and the first dark. If you combine those, you get 300 range, 90% crit rate, 250% crit damage, and buffs nearby units, and then crit buffs equal range/damage. So he's going to be like a map-wide, huge crit unit with a buff as well. We go into the ultimate water one. We can see this is a combination of the first fire and the first water. This is going to turn enemies into flying, turn ground allies into hybrid, and Rimuru himself is going to do extra damage to flying enemies. So pretty much every enemy is going to turn them into flying yourself. You use that right here. You can see the enemies are now flying. Kind of looks wacky, but pretty cool. And finally, we have the ultimate Yogg-Sothoth. And this one, Cthulhu plus any advance, so as long as you have perfect seal and any other element eaten, you can gain extra damage per unit sacrificed, but more importantly, calls out for a greater purpose. This is going to be referring to the unique magic on this guy. So now that we have fully completed ultimate magic, I went ahead and grabbed the advanced one again as well. As you can see, we've completed every magic from the first tier and the second tier now. We have unlocked Azathoth. And what this does, it doesn't seem like much, right? Well, it might. Might seem pretty good. But sacrifice every unit slot on your team except for True Dragon God, and deal 25 times his total damage, so like the damage number in the info that he's done in the entire match. This is where the Soul Gluttony ability comes in. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. Sorry if you were kind of confused by why I ignored this ability. This was not useful until later. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not. Soul Gluttony is pretty much a workaround if you don't want to use Azathoth and delete your entire team at once. This can kind of one at a time take a unit off of your team. So like Soul Gluttony I'm going to use on my idol. Now I can no longer place my idol, right? I consumed the unit slot. But pretty much with Rimuru, once you have all the ultimate skills and the advanced skills, and you sacrifice every single unit slot on your entire team that is not him, we're going to unlock his unique skills, which are kind of the final pinnacle of this unit. This is as strong as he can get. Now for Raphael the Great Sage, this is one of the unique skills that he got. For every 1 million yen the player has, he's going to gain 150% extra damage. Pretty much that is going to be relying on the amount of money you have once you actually merge him, once you like sacrifice your entire team. If you have a lot of money during that, you'll get more damage on him. Draconic Aura. An enemy first enters 20% of his range, he's going to apply Despair, Weaken, Rewind for 15 seconds, deal 50 times his damage with a cap of 1 trillion. Pretty much, like, around him, he's going to make stuff a lot weaker, do a lot of damage to them. Endless Misery. Every 6th attack, he's going to rewind all enemies on the map for 7 seconds with a 20-second cooldown. Very broken rewind there. Every now and then he'll rewind everything, and then deal 7 times True Dragon God's damage to the entire map. So like a little mini nuke and mini rewind. Very, very good. And then finally, Greater Purpose. This is the final unique skill that we unlock by sacrificing our entire team. Gives them more damage per unit slot sacrificed, more damage in range per 100 kills, with a total cap of 1000% extra total bonus damage. Oh, by the way, the unique skills, I don't know if I even mentioned these, but yeah, he gets 2 maxed out abilities as well, once you have him in the fully, like, unique skill form. These don't have animations, but he does have, like, a execute thing, and then a map-wide insta-kill thing. Very, very good. Just a final recap, if you either don't want to watch the full video, or got lost along the way, or still don't quite understand it. He has skill crafting, is his main passive mechanic. These are going to be his like main passives he unlocks, the advanced and ultimate and unique magic. You can see those in the passives here. Advanced, ultimate, advanced skills, ultimate skills. These right here, he unlocks from the skill crafting. Unlocking the skills in the skill crafting requires him to use the Gluttony ability, and eat the elements of different units and different enemies, so you need to get like one of each element, ideally. So you want to get like fire, water, nature, and if you don't have access to a certain element to eat, whether it be a unit or an enemy, you can force it onto them with reality warping. So pretty much he can force an element onto anything, then he can eat that element, unlock the magic from it, and eventually sacrifice his entire team to gain a bunch of different stuff here. Yeah, Rimuru is very strong, as you've probably seen by now, but he takes a lot of ramping up. Hopefully this guide kind of helped you on how to do it. You just kind of eat stuff, force their element to eat them, and unlock different skills along the way. And again, if you have them in the auto mode, when you choose the form when you first place them down, you can only go up to advanced tier, which is the first tier of his passives, which are not very strong. So the AFK potential of this guy is just kind of alright. He's not very good for AFK farming. If you manually use him though, he is by far the best unit in the game. If you still have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try and get to as many of those and answer them as I can. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video or find it helpful. Hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.